So, welcome back to the Zane Friesner YouTube channel. I know in the last video I said the next video we would be putting a T56 in the car, but I'm really bad about filming stuff. I kind of forget that I have a YouTube channel, so that's my bad. But we did try to put the T56 in the car, and it will fit. The T56 will fit in the car. We figured out what we need to do, cut the trans tunnel. That's pretty much all that really needs to be done to get the T56 in the car. The long tubes showed up that I bought for the car, and we went to test fit them, and they will not fit in the car. So to make them fit, we are going to have to pull the engine out of the car, pull the driver's side motor mount out, and rebuild it because it needs to be moved towards the front of the car, literally like an inch or two. So we're gonna pull the motor out, fix that motor mount, and then also the frame rail. It's kind of dark in my garage, but I'll try to show you guys. Okay, yeah. So the frame rail right here is cut from the old header. So I'm gonna have Dusty, the guy who put the old trans in the car, notch that for me, and then he's going to rebuild this motor mount for me right there to where it's further this way to where the headers will fit in the car. And when you are looking at the motor and the transmission and the drive shaft, it's cocked a little, just a little, but we're gonna straighten that out when we put the motor in. And so we're gonna pull the motor out, put the transmission and the clutch on the motor, put the headers on the motor, and then put the motor, headers, and the transmission all in at once. It should be a little easier, slipping all three in there at once instead of all three, because you're not fighting each step. I mean, it's all together, so just put it in the car. Should be fairly quick. So, got to take my car out to Dusty's, which he's very busy, so not sure when I'll have time to take my car out there. But today, we are going to start pulling some of the stuff off the motor, like the intake has to come off, the radiator needs to be drained, the hoses need to be come off of the motor. These hoses right here. So, that's what we're going to do today is drain the radiator. Probably pull the radiator out of the car because it's not that hard. So probably pull the radiator, hoses, and probably pull the intake off the car to where we can put the chain across right there when we go to pull the motor out. So that's what we'll be doing today. So I'm going to jack the car up, get a coolant pan underneath it, and start draining the radiator. That's step one. Got the coolant pan there. The jack under it. Now we'll let that drain. Also, while the car is at Dusty's, he's gonna help build like a full exhaust, because before the exhaust only came to like right here. So it would just bounce off the bottom of the car and it just echoed inside the car and was so loud. So we're gonna build exhaust that comes out the back, and that'll make it drivable until I can save some money to send it to an exhaust shop and have a full system fully built once I put the gas tank in the car, because it's still got the fuel cell. And I don't know when I'm going to get around to putting a gas tank in it. So build the exhaust out the back, and then it's with the T56 and the long tubes and full exhaust, it should be completely drivable. Well, at least that's the goal. Okay, got the radiator out of the car, which, to be honest, is probably too far. Like, I probably could have just took this hose off and that hose and left the radiator, and would have been enough room to pull the motor. But there was one clamp here, and since I already took those hoses off anyways, I mean, literally it was just the clamp, unplug the fan, and the radiator pulled right out. So let's give ourselves more room. Now next, I am going to take off the intake, which is just these bolts right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there's 10 total, and then I got the throttle cable off the bracket. I gotta unbolt it there. Then the intake will come off. So do that next. So you had to loosen these 10 bolts and then disconnect the coils, and then disconnect the injectors, unplug the injectors, which are right there on the fuel rail. So you disconnect those coils. The fuel line has to come off, so I have to wait for Tim to come over with this special tool. The brake booster vacuum line, the relay or the ground deal that goes to the cylinder head down there. You can't see it, but unplug everything, and then this will come off. So that's the last thing that's as far as I'm gonna go, because once that's off, basically the motor should be good to come out. But that's how it's going with the car, what I've been doing to it, you know, what needs to be done to get it back together. So I am working on it, but thank you guys for watching.